Make some noise for hip-hop history.
When you watch this kind of footage, are you getting the sense of a dystopia unfolding around you? A hyper-reality where celebrity court cases are entertainment, where ongoing pandemics fluctuate in their significance, where wars are very, very important one moment and then drift out of your consciousness the next, where comedians are attacked on stage just months after we saw a high-profile actor attack a high-profile comic for making what seemed at the time like a relatively innocuous, if perhaps somewhat insensitive joke. What is happening to our culture? We are in this continual state of fraught conflict and uncertainty with no principles to return to, no recourse to a set of shared values that we all know are basically correct. We are defined at this time by oppositionism. Here's where I stand. I would say that anybody should be able to identify however they want to. And by that same principle of freedom, a comedian on stage should be able to say whatever they want to say. If you want the right to say whatever you want to say, you should respect the right of people to identify however they want to identify, and vice versa. If you want the personal freedom to be whoever you are, free from imaginary constructed restraints, then you should recognize that some people are going to say stuff. Now, unless we can get to that point where people are willing to look at the other perspective instead of fiercely guarding their own, we do not have a culture anymore. We have a sort of vibrating conflict, a kind of burgeoning confrontation just waiting to be born. We're a constrained explosion, no real alliance, and recognize that there are other cultural ideas in this world, Chinese state communism, fundamentalist religious ideologies, that are pretty clear about what they believe in, what they believe is right, what they believe is wrong. So as our Western culture falls into decline, and while I recognize that it was necessary to address institutional ideas around race and gender and sexuality, there's been a lot of corruption, a lot of unfairness, rampant capitalism is out of control. Centralized power of big tech, big media, big business, big pharma is ridiculous. It's gotten out of hand. But it can't be enough for them to simply slap on the badges of BLM or some other woke cause and not address the fundamental issue: economic inequality, spiritual detachment from reality. You wander into a shop or a store and it means nothing to you anymore. You have no connection to where your food comes from. You have no connection to where information comes from. You have no connection to your neighbors. You are an atomized consumer existing in this world solely to make purchases, to stare dumbly and numbly at screens. And as long as that's your reality, then the titillation and stimulation of sort of trials about important things, but personal things, or attacks on stage will be deemed significant. We are watching the spectacle eat itself. We have to create our own connections, our own communities. We have to rediscover our own values. We have to detach ourselves from this illusion and discover what is real, or we're all doomed.